The topic today is supply chain challenges for Bangladesh during the COVID pandemic. Welcome to the webinar as part of Better Bangladesh Foundation Global Summit 2020. My name is Ashif Jahan, Senior Consultant with Panel XP Limited, Bangladesh, and an advisor for BNBF Global USA. Today our guest speaker is Dr. Ernest Nichols. He's an associate professor of supply chain management at the Department of Marketing and Supply Chain Management in the Fogelman College of Business and Economics at the University of Memphis in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Nichols' research has addressed a number of integrated supply chain management topics over the years. He has conducted supply chain management consulting and educational programs for a number of Fortune 500 corporations and governmental agencies. He has also served as part of the director for the FedEx Institute of Technology at the University of Memphis. Dr. Nichols is currently involved in research projects that addresses pharmaceutical, supply chain security, technology adoption in healthcare, supply chain and lean supply chain management. It's an honor to have Dr. Nichols with us to share his expertise and with our honorable members of the ministry from the government of Bangladesh, honorable speakers, investors, and business leaders from across the globe. Now, I'll turn over to Ms. Tasmia Nuhi Al-Amin, an advocate with Supreme Court of Bangladesh and a member of BBF Global. She will lead the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Ashif Jahan, for giving me the floor. I welcome everyone at today's webinar, which has been organized as part of BBL Global Summit 2020. And I am really grateful to Dr. Ernest Nichols, who is the guest speaker today. And today we will be discussing on supply chain challenges for Bangladesh during COVID-19 pandemic. So without further ado, let's start our discussion. Are you ready, Dr. Nichols? Thank you. So the thing is that the global supply chain is under threat globally due to the COVID-19, starting from ports to factories, storehouses, and delivery channels. All components of the supply chain are under threat or have been affected. So how do you see the impact of this on global economy?
You're absolutely right. The impact on all aspects of the supply chain and the global economy has been something we have not seen in our lifetimes, and hopefully we will not again. There is not an element of the supply chain that hasn't been impacted, and as a result of it, the forecast for the economy, based on most recent IMF numbers, it looks like 2020 globally we're going to be down, almost 5%. And the projections are going forward. The recovery will in fact be a slow one, and projections for 2021, while positive, are about half of what they were projected to be prior to with estimates prior to the pandemic. So it's serious, on a global basis and for all organizations, all companies.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Let me move to the next question, which is that, let me tell you the background first. Like, as we all know, that the pandemic is going to hurt the supply chain in all sectors of the economy. So in that case, do you see the impact to be different for different sectors?
It's going to affect all, and has been affecting all sectors. Some sectors may be suffering greater than others, but basically all sectors have suffered, and it's, there's a variety of factors driving the problems. In some cases, it is a supply issue. Critical suppliers are not able to produce. Manufacturers are not able to produce. And then on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of the problems are driven by consumer demand, or more accurately, lack of consumer demand. And you look at certain industries, the demand has fallen off entirely. You look at transportation of goods by all modes is down, but if you look at transportation of passengers, it's had a phenomenal impact, and demand is a fraction what it normally would be in that area. So no sector is immune. Some will face it more greatly than others, but there's no one approach that's going to be the answer.
Okay, if that is the case, then what is your advice or suggestion for the sectors which are mostly affected due to the COVID-19 to cope up or to actually recover from this situation?
I think for a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, at this point, it's a matter of survival. It's a matter of trying to hang on. And if you're talking particularly about smaller organizations, they may not, a number of smaller organizations, at least speaking in this country, may not make it to the other side. So companies are trying to drastically reduce costs, while at the same time, trying to maintain, their core competencies to the extent that they can. But that's going to be absolutely critical. And regardless of sector, the other thing that's critical is dealing with COVID. And it means protective equipment for workers. It means distancing. It means cleaning. It means quarantining. And until that becomes priority one for organizations, it's going to be very, very difficult to press forward with any other kind of efforts to rekindle the economy, if you will.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. So the next question is, as we all know, all the countries are not on the same footing. Some countries are better equipped or better prepared to face the pandemic. So in that case, what Bangladesh should do to be at par with them? Especially, I would like to know especially about the South Asian competitors of Bangladesh, namely China, India, Vietnam, or Sri Lanka.
Obviously, there's resources are critical, and Bangladesh needs to do everything to acquire the necessary resources, whether it's from governmental programs, from outside investors. The resources are a big piece of being able to fight the COVID and get supply chains back on track. But I would argue that resources aren't everything. And I'll use my country as an example. The United States has all kinds of resources, but we also, at this point, in my humble yet ever-present opinion, we're suffering from an acute lack of leadership at the top levels of government, and consequently, without a consistent national, federal level plan and strategies, and the willingness to lead and execute these strategies, we're not doing that well. It's largely been left to states and municipalities. So I think it's important that that Bangladesh has a consistent national policy that is focused on what it's going to take to get the COVID under control, and that will be a critical issue.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. This is very helpful.
Most factories in Bangladesh do not have proper safety standards. And Bangladesh, after experiencing pitfall in the RMG sector, the ready-made garment sector, because of a fire back in 2013-14 timeframe, there's been some, I would say, international effort to improve the standards there. So is there anything more to be done? Should there be much more to be done to be part of an international standard in terms of manufacturing and global multinational companies, supply chain?
Yes. Well, suppliers, companies are, always looking for best cost, quality, delivery, technology, what have you. But increasingly, when companies are looking for supply chain partners, they also want companies that will fall, that adhere to high standards under this heading of corporate social responsibility. So we're talking about worker safety, working conditions, environmental stewardship, sustainability, things of that nature. And, increasingly companies are looking for organizations that have international certifications, and specifically, the ISO, for example, ISO standards for quality, for environment, for occupational health and safety. And I don't think that they're, if the organizations can meet that level of standards, you'll be well positioned to compete. Because one of the things that's I think challenging a lot of companies is the world grows increasingly smaller, and everybody's got one of these. So everybody is potentially a reporter, and companies want to be certain that the organizations that they're partnering with are ones that are meeting the standards that they think are necessary. So, like I say, it may be a challenge, but the more that international level certification, ISO level certification can be achieved, the better off organizations in Bangladesh will be.
In addition to standards, are there any special do's and don'ts that Bangladesh may consider or not do, introducing these improvements in the country? Would that create much more of an investor mindset, as in India, Vietnam, and Indonesia has been able to accomplish? What specific initiatives can be taken by Bangladesh to attract foreign investors?
Well, I'll preface my comments with I'm a supply chain management guy, not necessarily an international investment person. But one of the things that is a result of the pandemic is companies have been forced to re-examine their supply chains. And I think in a lot of cases, companies have found that their supply chains were too lean. They didn't have enough They were focused on a single supplier or suppliers in a single area. So I think you're going to see companies that will look to diversify their supply chain. The notion of single suppliers, I think the pendulum is shifting back, and I think there'll be opportunity for companies wanting to add additional suppliers, additional capabilities within their supply base to reduce risk. The other thing that suppliers, that companies are faced with is they recognize they had limited supply chain visibility. So they might have had good views one tier back, their immediate supplier. But as you went further back in the supply chain, tier 2, tier 3, what have you, all of a sudden a lot of companies don't know really who their suppliers are. So I see companies looking to add greater supply chain visibility to know who their suppliers are, where, what are the links in their supply chain throughout. And as a result of that visibility, going back to my early responses, they're going to want to partner with organizations that can meet the quality, the cost, the technology, as well as the overall corporate goodwill measures, corporate social responsibility measures as well. So once again, to the extent that companies within Bangladesh meet those criteria, that's a plus. I think it's very necessary that they are highlighted and promoted to the extent that funds can be used to increase certifications, increase training, if you will, in key sectors. Those will all help. And then other issues which are not quick fixes, but infrastructure issues, improving the infrastructure, customs clearances, and overall ease of doing business. These are all things that companies are looking at, because they want not only to be able to produce their products, but they need to get the products in and out of their various supplier countries in a timely and cost-effective manner. So there's not a quick fix to any of this, but these are all things that I think will help the situation in Bangladesh.
So thank you, Mr. Shivjan. So would you like to conclude the session?
I think we hit on some important issues, and I'd like to get Masood Khan, the chairman of BBF, and I'd like to get some comments from him as he prepares for this live discussion on the 19th. He's sitting in a restaurant, but I think he can add some value how the government of Bangladesh, he works closely with the ministers and foreign ambassadors and the investment side, manufacturing side, his connections in a very high range of people. And I think he is gathering a good team of people to really challenge us to look at the international manufacturing side, where we can improve greatly in the nation. Mr. Masood Khan, do you want to add some comments? Masood?
Can you please unmute yourself? We can't hear you.
Okay. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Asif Jahan and Tasmia, thank you very much for introducing me. And I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the speaker today, Professor Ernest Nichols, for wonderful delivery today. The supply chain management is a huge issue for any business. If supply chain management doesn't work properly, I believe business cannot handled properly. So it's a very, 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 very important issue. As you said, that we have international, investment, and also the Entrepreneurship Summit 2020, organized by BVF Global and Better Bangladesh Foundation, will take place here in Dhaka, and Minister of Commerce, Minister of Planning, and also the Executive Chairman of Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, President of Dhaka Chamber, President of BCCI, and former Governor, Bangladesh Bank, Dr. Atiur Rahman, former Governor, Dr. Mohammad Farashuddin, and many, many distinguished people will join. Especially, I would like to thank Mr. Asif Jahan. They will join from New York, Mr. Rafiq Khan, Dilwar Khan, and also we have guests from different countries, especially the BBF global leaders will take part from different countries: Italy, Germany, Malaysia, Qatar, and Canada. So we'd like to work together and try to put together our efforts and make things happen together. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I believe Dr. Ernst will join your session, and I'll talk to Asif Jahan about it tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Nichols. We will end this recording. Appreciate your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you for the opportunity, and I've enjoyed visiting with you.
Thank you.
Good luck with your program.